Hi friends, today we'll discuss about digital payments. So these payments have started from manual, then it has gone to the digitalized. So today we'll discuss about entire process. So previously you want to transfer from one institution to another institution or one bank to another bank. One is you have a clearing. So those days clearing was through MICR clearing. Even today also we are doing MICR clearing. The checks clearing system have evoluted from manual clearing to MICRs. So previously it was manual. After MICR, something like it is something automated. So then it has converted into check truncation system. CTS enable us to image of the check for the payment processing, hereby eliminating need for the physical movement of checks. Previously the checks are issued, it may be inward or outward. So always every day used to exchange the physical checks from one bank to another bank through RBI or through clearing house. So after CTS, so image based checks, because of this one lot of physical movement of checks is removed, and for the outstation checks it was previously used to take 15-20 days for the outstation checks. Physically you send it to the other bank, other places, then you get the remittance. Now after this one, with benefit of reduced turnaround time, so previously 15 days, now it may be local, or because image is only we are sending, so it may be local or outstation, it takes 3 days only. So particularly more so in case of outstation checks. So what are the digital payments enablers? So from where these digital payments can be generated? From internet, from mobile phones, or Aadhaar based, or from your debit card, or from your credit card, or from your bank accounts. These digital payments will be enablers. So what are the key points in digital payments? So key points involved during the digital payment journey. You have Indian Financial System Code, IFSC code. So IFSC code is 11 digit alphanumeric code. Identify a bank branch. Okay, first 4 digit representing the bank, 5 character is 0, and the last 6 digits representing special branch code. So the IFSC is mandated for fund transfer through various payment systems, RTGS, NEFT, IMPS. So IFSC code is very important during these fund transfer, as it helps to identify the destination and the beneficiary bank and branch. So ISO 20022 messages, so is a multi-part international standards prepared by ISO technical committee TC68 Financial Services. So ISO 20022 is an emerging global and open standard for payment messaging. So payment messaging from one organization to another organization, one bank to another bank, we are following ISO 20022 standards. So SWIFT. So this will be useful for the international fund transfer. World leading provider for secure financial messaging services. SWIFT has become the industry standard for syntax in financial messages. Messages forward to SWIFT standards are read and proceeded by many financial processing systems. Whether the message traveled over the SWIFT network or not, SWIFT standards have been used across the global for domestic and international payment messaging services. In India, the SWIFT messaging standards are used for all cross-border payments. Means one country to another country, we are using the SWIFT standards. LEI, legal entity identifier. LEI 20 character alphanumeric code based on the ISO 1744 standard to uniquely identify legally distinct entities that engage in financial transactions. It points to key reference information that enable clear and unique identification of legal entity participating in financial transactions, and also contains information about an entity ownership structure and those answers that questions who is who and who owns whom. These will be identified through LEI. Digital payment. More digital payment options are now available to consumers. Systems that offer nearly instant person-to-person retail payments are increasingly available around the world. Many payment systems in India now operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, because of digital payment, lot of manual involvement is eliminated, and you have digital payment services 24/7, 7 days, 365 days. So anytime you can do transfer from one organization to another organization, one bank to another bank, one customer to another bank. And if you take important digital payments is ECS, Electronic Clearing Services. ECS scheme for handling bulk repetitive payment requirements. Repetitive payments like salary, savings interest, dividend payments, these will be covered in ECS credit. Corporate and other institutions, RBI later introduced ECS debit scheme to provide a faster method of effecting periodic and repetitive. Periodic means once in a while, repetitive means every month collection, like your utility bills. These things can be completed through ECS debits. ECS credits will be your salary, interest, dividends. So later they have introduced NACH, National Automated Clearing House. NACH is a centralized ECS system operated by NPCI. NACH was formed to consolidate multiple ES systems running across the country into one centralized system. It operates both NACH credit and NACH debit. So already we have discussed getting credits, monthly credits or periodic. It may be salary, it may be dividend, or it may be interest, or getting the monthly payouts like utility bills. So NACH debit and credit, example like collection of various utility payment bills to telephone, electricity, water, gas charge. It also facilitates collection of periodic installments towards loan, investment, mutual funds. You take a loan and you will give a monthly EMI, and you open a SIP, systematic investment plan, and you can issue a monthly payment to mutual funds. Insurance premium, it may be monthly, quarterly, half yearly. Every time you need not give a check or something, you can give a NACH, automatically it will be debited from your account. Same time you will get a credit also through NACH. So in digital payments, credit cards and debit cards. Card payments is an important payment instrument which has replaced the use of cash at least retail outlets and e-commerce sites. So because of these debit cards and credit cards, lot of cash transactions are eliminated. When you are buying online, you will use credit card, debit card for e-commerce transactions, or you go to the retail outlets where you have a systems, you can use debit card, credit card. So you can eliminate all cash transaction. In comparison to credit cards, debit cards are much popular in India because you have an account, you will get a debit card, but credit card you need a income and you need a supporting document so that you will get a credit card. So in India, debit cards are popular than credit cards. So contactless cards, which allows cardholder to tap and go. So previously you want to use your debit card or credit card, you swipe it and you enter the password, then only transaction will be completed. In contactless cards, just tap and go. So there is no password is required. These cards are becoming increasingly popular. So during the corona time, so contactless cards are become popular. So here also, for the security purpose, government has fixed up to 2000 rupees only you can use contactless transactions. If it is more than 2000 rupees, invariably you have to enter the PIN. National Common Mobility Card, NCMC, is a combo card, combination of and debit and credit. So with a prepaid card where debit or credit component would be used in the online environment, whereas the prepaid component would be used in offline environment wherever offline payments are permitted. So you have a combination of debit and credit card. So in this you have a prepaid amount. If systems are down, there is no connectivity to your core banking system or main system. With the offline mode, you have a prepaid amount, prepaid limit. From that limit, your transactions can be completed. Combo cards, while offering convenience of not having to carry multiple cards in your wallet, because you have a debit card, you have a credit card, so you can club everything and you can put it in one card. Raise issues, uncertain regularity, become multiple masters. So you can have government, RBI, metro operators, etc., which have to be addressed through coordination. So RuPay cards, the drive for a less cash economy in the demonetization, these RuPay cards have become famous. Countries that encourage domestic cards have been observed to be faster in moving away from cash. So RuPay card is totally developed by the Indian government. So these cards are become popular, and because of these cards, cash transaction can be eliminated. So large volume payment system. So example is real-time gross settlement. Large volume systems are most critical component of the national payment system, as they can generate and transmit disbursal system at nature to the financial sector. So you can see, like, large value payment system means minimum transaction amount is 2 lakhs rupees, and the transaction settled real time on a gross basis in the books of RBI. So in RTGS, you will have settlement for each transaction. So bank to bank settlement will be done through RBI for each transaction. NEFT, there is no floor or ceiling for the amount that can be transferred in a single transaction. So it is 2 rupees minimum transaction. If you take it RTGS, it is a 2 lakhs, because of which NEFT has emerged as a popular hybrid payment system, because in RTGS you have minimum amount is 2 lakhs. In NEFT there is no minimum transaction amount, is 2 rupees. So it becomes popular. You want to do the small token amounts, you can use NEFT with average transaction value approximately 10 lakhs rupees. Okay, so these become popular. NEFT. Faster payments are speed and continuous service availability. So faster payments, you will have a 24/7, 365 days it will be running. So these are called fast payments. IMPS, the system provides for real-time transfer of funds between remitter and beneficiary without a deferred net settlement between banks. The system facilitates push transaction with a per transaction limit of 2 lakhs rupees. So you have a gross settlement, like every transaction you will have a settlement. You have NEFT. NEFT will be like timely basis. So every half an hour there will be a settlement of batches, then only your debit or credit will be happening. But IMPS, it will be immediately, it will be transferred from remitter to beneficiary account. UPI is a mobile based payment, 365 days, 24 hours fast payment system, wherein users can send the receive money instantly using virtual payment address VPA set by the user itself. So UPI, you can set your address and you can receive or you can send money. So it supports person to person or person to merchant, means individual to individual or individual to business person. You can transfer UPI payments. Aadhaar enabled payments, it allows online interoperable transaction at micro ATM through BCs of any bank using the Aadhaar authentication. So you have a X bank as, so through business correspondent third party, payments can be performed through Aadhaar enabled payment. Under this system, Aadhaar number is used not only to identify the beneficiary but also to authenticate your transactions. While doing the transaction, Aadhaar number will be validated. With the Aadhaar number, you will get OTP. With that OTP only your transactions will be completed. The biometric based authentication is done. Unique Identification Authority of India. So Aadhaar enabled payment. Here bank you have another layer, business correspondent. E-money is prepaid value stored electronically, which represents the liability of the e-money issuer, a bank or e-money institution, and which is denominated in a currency backed by a authority in India. E-money is PIP issued as wallets and cards. So E-money, you have wallets, money will be in electronic store, you can use wherever you want. So what are the acceptance points for the digital payments? So equivalent to cash, ATMs are terminals that allow authorized user typically by using a card to access a range of services such as cash withdrawal, balance inquiries, transfers of funds, or accepting or cash deposit. These can be done through ATMs. So white label ATMs, these are of third party. So the WA operator role is confined acquisition of transactions of all bank customers by establishing terminals connectivity with the authorized shared ATM network operator, card payment network operators. These are called white label ATMs. Micro ATMs is device used by a BC. Already we had discussed bank, and second layer will be business correspondent to connect to his bank, authenticate customer and perform the transaction. Through BC, you can use the micro ATMs and you can do the transaction by authenticating. Although it is called as a micro ATM, it does not have cash storage and dispensation facility. These cash balance are reflected online, but physically cash is deposited with or handed out by the BC. So directly you will not be dealing cash withdrawal or cash deposit through the bank, but it will be routed through BC, which is business correspondent. So point of sale terminals. Points of sale terminals are devices typically used at a retail location to capture payment information electronically, and in some cases on paper vouchers to encourage usage of cards. So point of sale, you go to a shop, you purchase everything, you swipe your card and enter the PIN and you can complete your transaction. Without any cash, you can complete your purchases. So QR code, quick response. So Bharat QR has grown a lightweight, low cost method to bring merchants into the accepting material network. So you want a POS machine, then you need a machine, then you need a internet, those things, and you have to buy a machine. In QR code, it is a low cost method. A QR code based payment is a contactless payment because there is no contact, because you are not giving any card to the merchant. Directly from your mobile, you are scanning and you are doing QR code from a mobile app. When a QR code is scanned and merchant customer details get auto-populated, which is used for performing the transaction. When you are scan the QR code, automatically merchant details will come to your mobile. Then you can enter the amount and you can give the PIN and you can complete the transaction. Automatically amount will be transferred to merchant's account. And what are the different government payments are available? So Aadhaar payment bridge system, APBS. So this is useful for your gas subsidy or any other government security. This will be given to the customer's account through Aadhaar number. APBS, a component of NACH, which uses Aadhaar number for electronic crediting of government subsidies and benefits into Aadhaar linked bank account, was implemented in 2012. Aadhaar Mapper repository, Aadhaar numbers managed by NPCI, is used for the routing APBS transaction to the destination bank based on the unique INN, institutional identification number of destination bank. The bank in turn credits the amount to the desired account number based on the Aadhaar number. So here everything will be based on the Aadhaar number only. All government subsidies will be routed through APBS only. Bharat Bill Payment System, BPS, was coming to the payment services to customers through a network agent which multiple payment modes confirmation of the payment. It offers anytime, anywhere bill payment. Customer using the online payments as well through a network physical agent location. You can use BPS, you can use it through your online, or you approach the agent and you can complete the transactions like electricity bill, water bill, gas bill, telephone bill, DTH. These can be paid through BPS. You can use BPS, or you can use the agent and you can pay all these bills. So NETC, National Electronic Toll Collection, to reduce the current trend of large scale of cash based toll collections, the government of India has mandated to use of FASTag based toll payment, which is facilitated through NETC, an electronic interoperable system for toll collection. So previously, whenever you are traveling from one city to another city, you have to pay a lot of toll. You have sometimes you will have a 15-20 toll gates where you will be every time will be paying the cash. So now just you have FASTag, so you just tap it, automatically that amount will be deducted from your bank account. So lot of cash based toll collections were eliminated because of NETC payment system. So India Nepal remittance facility. So India Nepal remittance facility scheme was launched in 2008 using NEFT. These cross-border remittances schemes provided a safe and cost-effective avenue to migrate Nepali workers in India to remit money back to their families in Nepal. So people are coming from Nepal and working in India, they want to remit money back to their family accounts. They'll use the IN or FS, Indo-Nepal Remittance Facility Scheme. MTSS, inward remittance into India, are received through various channels such as banks, postal, MTSS and rupee drawing arrangement. So you want to transfer money from other country to India, you can through bank, you can do postal, and you can use money transfer service scheme, or you can use the RDA. So some people will have a rupee drawing arrangement. Through those accounts you can transfer your money. India is the largest recipient of remittance in the world, so we are the largest money receiver from other countries. So MTSS also the payment channel use money received from foreign countries to India. Task Force on Cross-Border Payments, in line with the G20 mandate to coordinate and develop a roadmap to enhance cross-border payment. Cross-border payments, one country to another country. The task force has undertaken a detailed assessment of existing cross-border payment arrangement and challenges. Now we have discussed what are the enablers, what are the important points available in payments. Now how these payments will be settled. So Security Settlement Clearing Corporation of India Limited, CCIL. CCIL is a financial market infrastructure authorized by RBI under the PSS Act to operate various payment systems and function as a trade repository. So gross settlement, already we have discussed. Gross settlement means one bank is doing a transaction on another bank, it will be one to one. So a gross settlement system is one is which settles or funds transfer occurs individually as when each payment transaction is processed in the system, each transaction is settled with a one-to-one basis without binding or netting with any other transaction. So you send one transaction, you will receive money. You receive one transaction, you send money. So every transaction may be inbound or it may be outbound. You will have a settlement entry. Final settlement of transaction occur at the end of the process. So some countries or some other places systems they will use end of the day gross settlement, but in gross settlement it will be one to one. So net settlement will be used for the NEFT. So every half an hour we will settle the amount, not for the entire, not for the one-to-one transaction. It will be half an hour. In a net settlement system, many transactions are accumulated and offset against each other, with only the net differential being transferred between the members. So two banks are doing the transactions, it will be settled only once in a half an hour. So one bank has sent 1 lakhs to another bank and another bank has sent to this bank 50,000. So difference of 50,000 only they'll settle, not the each transaction. In previously we had discussed gross settlement, it will be one to one. So in net settlement sometimes you will get a minus, sometimes you will get a plus also. Deferred settlement, however, in a few systems like UPI and IMPS, when funds are credited, while funds are credited to the beneficiary customer immediately, the interbank settlement is done later according to a predefined settlement cycle which at the present takes place 4 times a day. This is called deferred settlement in case of IMPS and UPI in the settlement. For first it is gross settlement will be 1 to 1, and NEFT will be half an hour. After half an hour, whatever it may be debit or credit you will receive, then only these transactions will be settled and amount will be credited to customer's account. You have a time of half an hour. But in UPI IMPS, without getting money from the other bank, immediately you have to credit to the customer account. So here the deferred settlement will be 4 times. In 4 times in a day, it can be debit or credit. So one is we have a gross settlement and a net settlement and deferred settlement. So settlement guarantee mechanism. So what is a guarantee? Maybe 1 to 1, okay, immediately you will get money. NEFT you will get half an hour. In IMPS UPF it will be 4 times a day. Deferred netted settlement system may expose participant to credit and a liquidity risk for the period during which settlement is deferred. Settlement finally is only achieved at the end of the destination cycle. So already we have discussed it will be in a day 4 times. So how to get guaranteed credit, whether you will get money from other bank, or liquidity risk, whether on a particular point whether we have a liquidity to match the, it may be debit or it may be credit settlement amount. Your money should be ready to settle the amount. So unwinding, in a scenario where supervisory action undertaken a participating member bank imposing restrictions on a member bank indicating that fraudulent erroneous transaction was undertaken that needs to be reversed, the member position on a specific transaction may need to be removed from the settlement file of the payment system by unwinding the position in the system. So supervisory action, imposing restrictions if it is any indicates a fraudulent erroneous transaction. So removing that transaction from the settlement file. So however, unwinding is taken preferentially only in case of emergencies or exigencies which aim to ensure safety security of the payment system. So what are the customer protection? Security for card transactions. So already we are going towards the digital payments, so where technology will be more and you will have a chance of frauds also. To eliminate that frauds, lot of card security transactions has implemented RBI, like you can, when you are going out, you can say disable your card, enable your card, you can set a limits your card, or you can stop a online e-commerce transactions, or you can stop a RTGS, you can stop debit card transactions or international transaction. These facilities are given for the security purpose. And additional factor of authentication, it can be you can have a device or you have a extra OTP. Authentication is important to prevent fraudulent transactions in e-commerce environment. It improves trust between the merchant and the customer, and security in world where cyber security has become a major issue. With effect from 1st January 2009, banks were mandated to ensure that online transactions using credit or debit cards are authenticated using AFA, additional factor of authentication. Okay, so you have one authentication, like you can enter all the card details and you can enter the CVV number, then you will get a OTP, then you can enter the OTP. So it will be the additional factor of authentication. Sometimes you will get a call from the banks whether you are doing this transaction. So these mandate applies to all transactions using cards issued in India. MBB chip and PIN cards. An MBB chip is enabled microprocessor chip in payment cards such as credit and debit card, which protects the cardholder data. It's the EMV chip, storing data on integrated circuits rather than in a magnetic strip. EMV chip card transactions improve security against fraud compared to the magnetic strip. So magnetic strip means the data will be available on the card, but in EVM chip that data will be stored on the chip. So lot of security will be available for EMV chip cards when you compare to magnetic strips. Online alerts, In order to enhance security of online transactions with effect from August 2019, banks were required to place on online alerts to the cardholders for all transactions of value more than 5,000 rupees. So more than 5,000 rupees, whenever do a transaction, you will get a SMS, you will get an email. So later on it was implemented for the all transactions. So any fraud has happened, immediately you can call the bank and you can stop the transactions. So you can eliminate and you can restrict the frauds, and loss also you can eliminate the loss. Tokenization. While performing a card transaction, customer either enters the card details manually or swipes dips the card in POS terminal. There are situations where the card holders hand over the card to the strangers for a merchant establishment for the payment. In those situations, normally card will be given to the merchant for the swiping purpose. So instead of sending the card holder information, we will send the token information. So if you know the card number, maturity date, everything, there is a possibility for the doing a fraud. But if you send the token, then your original information will not go to the merchant. So therefore payment transaction is performed using the token instead of the actual card data. So those a token issued card transaction, the actual card details are neither but for the not captured at the merchant end. The enhanced the safety will be increased. Facility to switch on off transaction rates. So already we have discussed, if you want you can switch on or switch off when a new card is issued. Only physical presence transactions will be allowed. Whenever you want you can activate, deactivate domestic transactions, international transactions. If the new card is issued, will not give the contact lens card, contact transactions. So these will be facilities given to the customers. Switch on, switch off transaction, setting limits, everything is available for the customer. Positive confirmation. When you're doing a payment transfer, not only your account is debited, you will get a alert, you will get a SMS or you will get an email. When it reaches the beneficiary account, there also you will get a positive confirmation message like amount is credited to your beneficiary account. That also you will get a confirmation, positive confirmation. So turnaround time, lot of times when you are doing a transaction, transaction will go to into the loop and you will not be knowing like whether the transaction is completed or it has gone to loop or it has gone to reverse. So this turnaround time is fixed. So on a particular turnaround time, automatically the failed transaction will be credited back to the beneficiary or issuer account. E-mandate standing instructions called UPI. So to increase digitalization, recurring payment, like it will happens in a monthly, quarterly, yearly. So like monthly subscriptions, insurance premium payment, systematic investment payment, bill payments, etc. So these will be included in e-mandate standing instructions. It couples convenience with adequate safety like authentications for the first transaction, e-mandate registration, modification and revocation. So you can modify the standings and revoke the, you can cancel. So you can use the e-mandates and standing instruction. Cash withdrawals at merchant locations using the POS and UPI. So you are not for the cash withdrawals directly, you are not going to the bank, but you are going to the merchant location. Banks had been permitted to extend small value cash withdrawal facilities at POS device at merchant establishment. So POS devices, you can do a transaction, buy something and it will be directly debited from your card and it will be transferred to the merchant account. But there are transactions with smaller limits, so you can withdraw money from the POS machines. So merchant will be given to the money will be given to the customer, then he'll get benefit, he'll get a commission, he'll get a charges of these transactions. So digital literacy to improve the electronic payments by all sections of the society, to increase the digital footprints and achieve a less cash transaction payment. So as a part customer centric approach, RBI focus on enhancing customer education and awareness with the digital literacy, so that customer confidence in payment system is responded with usage combined with a better awareness of the product and processes. ATM interchange. So now a bank, they want to establish or they want to open a ATM, a lot of cost will be involved. So 2-3 banks, it may be 1-to-1 or it may be 2-3 banks, they'll interchange the ATMs. See, for example, X bank is there, Y bank is Z bank. So internally they'll come with a agreement and they'll say all your customers can do a transaction in my ATM and my customer will do ATM transactions in your ATM. So they'll interchange with some agreement. Okay, most of the banks have entered into a bilateral and multilateral agreements with other banks to have interbank ATM networks, as banks prefer to deploy ATMs at locations where they have a large customer based on the expected considerable use. It is but natural that banks levy charges for usage of the infrastructure set up by them. These charges are called ATM interchange. What is a digital ombudsman? So when you are doing digital transactions, you have a lot of complaints. Considering the growth and trend of the increasing complexity of such complaint, along with the emerging and non-banking service providers in the digital payment space, not only banks, other digital payments are Google Pay is there, Phone Pay is there. So RBI introduced ombudsman scheme for the digital transactions from January 31st, 2019, in order to have a dedicated system to address the grievances or to address the customer complaints. So special digital ombudsman is established. Internal ombudsman means every bank will have their internal ombudsman. Internal ombudsman scheme, the scheme was intended to ensure the complaints of the customers are addressed at the level of the payment system operator itself. So you have a problem with Google Pay, you can internally you can send your complaint to internal ombudsman. So this is for the internal ombudsman. Online dispute resolution. So instead of sending letters to the other banks or system, increase in number of complaints and disputes in a expected outcome of the unpotential increase in number of digital transactions. The most efficient option to handle such things, as however low in proportion may be, is the source to technology driven dispute resolution mechanism. That role based, transparent, customer friendly, involve minimum manual intervention. So in online dispute, so there won't be very less manual intervention. You can raise all your disputes through online only in ODR. Thank you friends. If you like my video, please subscribe and share with your friends also.